Effective negotiation is synonymous with effective communication. This is something that quickly becomes apparent as we begin to negotiate. However, one problem is that when we think about communication, we often focus on our ability to make our case, how to best use verbal and nonverbal communication skills to persuade the other party to accept our ideas and proposals. But this is not enough. We must also listen to the other party. Of course, successful negotiators must be able to communicate clearly and effectively with the other party. It is easy for misunderstandings to occur if we don't state our case clearly. But we need another set of skills. We also need to be good at listening. Listening is an important skill in life. It helps build relationships, solve problems, ensure understanding, resolve conflicts, and improve accuracy. These are benefits that are especially crucial during a negotiation. So what does a good listener do? Well, many of us would argue that a good listener is quiet while the other person is talking. We might even suggest that a good listener should send signals that we are in fact listening. Maybe we'll nod our head slightly, raise an eyebrow, and say, mm-hmm. If you're especially advanced, you might add that you should repeat back what the other person said at the end. Something along the lines, let me make sure that I understand you correctly. What you are saying is... Unfortunately, these suggestions are not really that good and we can do better. First of all, being a good listener does not mean just not talking while the other person talks. Sitting silently nodding does not imply that a person is listening. Instead, good listening is a two-way street. It's an active conversation. At a minimum, you need to improve your listening skills by practicing active listening. You must make a conscious effort to hear not only the words that the other person is saying, but really understand the complete message that is being sent. In order to do this, you must pay attention to the other person very carefully. You cannot allow yourself to become distracted. You cannot sit there forming counter-arguments that you will make when the other person stops speaking. You cannot allow yourself to get bored and lose focus. Any one of these things will lead to a lack of listening and a lack of understanding. You do need to acknowledge the other person. And this can be something as simple as a nod of the head or a simple uh-huh. So using body language and other signs to acknowledge you are listening is a good idea. You should also try to respond to the speaker in a way that will encourage them to continue speaking. Remember that what you really want is to get as much information from the other party as possible. And this takes more than a nod of the head. You may need to add an occasional question or even a comment. On top of these things, you need to create a safe and comfortable, and dare I say, trusting environment. You need to make the conversation a positive experience for the other party. Make them feel supported, understood, and most definitely heard. So, to become a better negotiator, you must become an active listener. Here's a short summary. Pay attention. Give the speaker your undivided attention and acknowledge the message. Look at the speaker directly. Don't get distracted and don't prepare a counter argument. Show that you are listening. Use body language and gestures to convey your attention. Nod occasionally. Smile and use other facial expressions. Use an inviting posture. Give an occasional uh-huh, as well as encouraging comments. Provide feedback. Make sure that you are understanding what is being said accurately. Do reflect back by paraphrasing. What I'm hearing is, or it sounds like you're saying that. Also ask questions to clarify anything that might be confusing to you. Allow the speaker to finish making their point before you start responding. And when you do respond, do so appropriately. Be open and honest, and give your response in a respectful way. Treat the other person well. Remember that when you negotiate, your number one goal is to learn about the other party. This is true whether you are engaged in a distributed or an integrated negotiation. So, work on becoming a good listener.